Hey guys, for today's video I want to talk about babies and dogs and some simple things that you can do if you have a crawling baby or a toddler in your house and you have dogs. So one really important thing to always remember is safety first. Babies can put more pressure on a dog than they know that they're doing. So they can do things to hurt a dog without knowing that they're hurting the dog, and it can be really dangerous. In the same sense, dogs, if they're not given boundaries, will knock babies over. They will take advantage of the fact that babies usually have food and they're usually, messy with it. And dogs will try to kind of use them as a little reward system and take food from babies, even take it out of their hands. So what I like to do is to keep the babies and dogs separate whenever you're not supervising them. And it's really important, especially when you have a crawling baby, to make sure that you're giving the baby space. So that means keeping the dog at a distance from the baby when the baby is crawling around on the floor. And the way that I like to do that is to use baby gates. And it's important to remember that the gate is to contain the baby, not to contain the dog. So I like the vertical gates that are kind of higher, about waist level. It's easier. Most dogs won't be able to jump over that, and most babies can't crawl over the gate either. By teaching your dog one simple obedience command, you can create harmony inside your house. And that obedience command is place. So if we had the baby and the dog in the same room and the dog was on place, the baby could crawl over to the dog's bed and crawl on them and put too much pressure on the dog. Let's say you're in the living room and that's where you like to have your baby crawling on the floor. What I would do is put a nice comfortable dog bed in either my kitchen or my dining room, and I would put a gate up so that the living room where the baby is crawling is safe. There's no dog interaction while the baby is crawling around. Put a dog bed in the dining room or the kitchen, and if you teach your dog place command, they're going to be comfortable laying on their bed, and they're not going to be trying to get through the gate to you and the baby where you guys are. So that's it. Simple command. Put the bed in the dining room, put the dog on place command. The dog's going to be comfortable laying there. Dogs don't need to be up investigating everything, looking out the window, pestering the baby. They don't need to be doing that stuff. They need to know that their job at this time, especially this time in the child's life, is to relax and be calm in the house and stay on their bed. So you teach place command, you put up the baby gate so that you're containing your baby and the baby is not pestering the dog. It's always, you guys always hear me talking about advocating for the dog and advocating for the child. You need to, as a parent and a dog owner, you need to be really responsible and keep both of those beings safe. Your dog needs to be safe from the baby because babies can hurt dogs. Even, unintentionally, they can do things that can hurt a dog. And you need to keep the baby safe because even friendly dogs can only take so much. And if a baby, takes a toy and hits the dog over the head or hits the dog and the dog feels threatened, dogs will protect themselves. And so as the dog owner and the parent, it's really important that you keep both safe. So that's it. Simple baby gate. When the child is down on the floor playing, or if you have a little toddler that's walking around, you have to be 100% dedicated to supervising their interactions. So if you want your baby or toddler to interact with the dog, and I don't recommend young babies interacting with dogs, not little infants. When the child is old enough to learn how to pet the dog and stuff, just make sure that you're always there to supervise it. And that includes, you know, if your baby's down on the floor and you have to run in to answer the phone, that's an unsupervised interaction, and you can't let that kind of stuff happen. It's always better to be safe. And as the child gets older, you know, more interaction can happen. The baby is less interesting to the dog. They will learn how to coexist together in your home, and it will be a safer environment. So just imagine, you know, whenever you have the baby down on the floor, the dog is separate on place in the other room, and there's a baby gate up. Remember that the baby should never, when they're able to be mobile, they should not approach the dog on place. If you want the child to pet the dog, call the dog over and then have the kid pet the dog. What that's going to do is provide both the child and the dog with feeling comfortable. The baby's not going to feel like the dog is going to knock them over, so they're not going to be afraid of dogs. And the dog is not going to feel threatened by this new person who is kind of, to a dog, unpredictable in their space. And they're going to learn to exist together, and everybody will be friends, and the child will grow up with a great companion. Don't let your child do stuff that might hurt the dog. Teach kids, when my kids were really little, whenever they petted a dog or, you know, met new dogs, it was always really be gentle. Be gentle. You need to be really gentle with dogs. And it's important to teach young kids and babies to be gentle with dogs. And, you know, not that they have to pet and hug every dog they see, because that can be really dangerous for your kid. I hope that helps. I hope it kind of gives you like a plan of action. Take care, guys.